It is impossible for you to become an emotionally strong woman if you think that emotional avoidance is actually emotional strength. I'm Jessica Monet and welcome back to my channel. These are the chapters for today's video, and girlies, let's get into it. Being able to master emotions, the way that they come out, understanding them in yourself and in other people, you need to learn the difference between emotional avoidance and emotional strength. So for the whole of my life, I thought that because I didn't react to certain things, or because I thought that was emotional strength because I had more of a higher emotional threshold than other people, or I just wasn't sensitive. It came from a series of pushing down my emotions, avoiding my emotions because it was uncomfortable. It wasn't rewarded for me to express. And so therefore, I stigmatized these negative emotions. Emotions are like energy, right? Energy cannot be destroyed. And if you were to have emotional avoidance and push that down, push that down, push that down, the pushing it down is the calm before the storm. It's gonna come out. It's gonna come out and you're not gonna like it when it comes out. You're emotionally strong, but you keep surface level friends. You're emotionally strong, but you binge eat. That's emotional avoidance. Emotional avoidance comes with a lot of things, but emotional strength is not one of them. Emotional strength is the ability to be able to go through emotionally a negative situation, express those emotions civilly, and come out the other end. Point number one, destigmatize emotions. Destigmatize the negative emotions, okay? Emotional intelligence and strength is marked by one's ability to recognize and experience the bad emotions as well as the good. What does that mean? If you have a certain mindset that expressing this emotion makes you look weak, it makes me look vulnerable, people can take advantage of me, or you've been taught that expressing these emotions are bad things, you are not allowed to express these things, you need to have a mindset shift. It's only when you reframe the way that you look at those negative emotions that you will grow. Being angry is not bad. It's a self-protective emotion. Being sad is not bad. It's a self-compassion emotion. You don't have to cry to be self-compassionate, but you do need to show compassion to yourself in order to get through the sadness. You don't need to rage and shout when you're feeling angry, but you do need to protect yourself in order to get through the anger. And you know why you need to destigmatize these things? Why you need to reframe the way that you look at them? Because you will go through the storm instead of waiting for the storm to pass. So the more times you go through that storm, the more times you allow yourself to experience anger and sadness civilly and healthily, the less sensitive and triggered you will be. You will become emotionally resilient. You will become emotionally strong. So therefore, things don't easily make you angry or easily make you sad because you were used to dealing with that emotion. You need to understand. Take a look at the world we live in. Do you think it's easy to be happy all the time? I would say I'm a pretty happy person. I might not look like it, but I am. We are living in an imperfect world, surrounded by imperfect people, and so therefore it is only natural that imperfect and unfavorable situations, experiences, and outcomes happen. And so me feeling sad, me feeling the urge to cry does not make me weak, it makes me normal. Me being disappointed by other people or by situations does not make me idealistic, it makes me normal. It makes me human. These things were never supposed to be frowned upon. They are part of the human experience. And so you need to learn to deal with them in order to become a better functioning human, a healthier functioning human, even better than those who told you that these emotions were bad things. Because I can guarantee you the people who made you feel weird about expressing these negative emotions are emotionally unhealthy themselves. They're emotionally unavailable themselves, and they're not emotionally strong. They're emotionally avoidant. We're trying to be better. We're trying to do better. And so in order to do better, you experience, you grow, you become more resilient. How to express your emotions is very important. The way that you express your emotions is very important, okay? We are now just getting used to feeling it. We're now getting used to not shoving it down, not avoiding it, actually feeling and experiencing sadness, anger, disappointment, all of these things. But how are we gonna let it out? We're gonna let it out by emotional ventilation. And I'm gonna break that down later on in the video. There was a time in my life where I genuinely didn't often feel. I was apathetic for 80% of the time. It got to a point where I would be told some like bad news and I wouldn't feel anything. And I remember going to the bathroom and I was like, is there something wrong with me? I wasn't always like that. So I ended up becoming like that because of a series of events that taught me to avoid the emotion or to push it away because it was uncomfortable to deal with it and not rewarding to experience. So I pushed it away or shoved it down. I started my self-improvement journey in 2020, 2019, and I was like, Lord, I need you to give me a heart of flesh. I feel like I have a heart of stone. There is something wrong, I think, and I need you to help me fix this. I would not be where I am today if it was not for the guidance of the Lord. So I was praying about it, and slowly but surely, I started to notice myself becoming a lot more sensitive. A lot more sensitive. Watching shows, watching movies, and I would feel the urge to cry. There must be some mistake. I can't even remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure it was the Good Dinosaur, and I was bawling my eyes out. But I was like, I'm by myself. Let me try. What will happen if I just express it? I let myself experience the emotion. I let myself express the emotion. And I felt so drained. I felt so drained by the end of it. I had a headache. It felt weird. But I felt renewed. I don't know how to explain it. I just felt like, which was weird. It was interesting. I'd never experienced that before. But the more I allowed myself to just feel the embarrassment and feel the discomfort and allow myself to express this emotion, because it wasn't hurting anybody, because I did it in a way that was civil and I did it in a way that was healthy, it helped me to be more comfortable with it. I would be praying and I would talk about a situation that I did not like or I just did not know how it made me feel, but it made me feel weird to God. And I started to experience comfort because crying sadness, self-compassion, and being compassionate towards myself. I'd rather experience pity now than be a major crash out in like a month's time. And not to other people, but to myself. I learned to show compassion for myself. I learned to show sympathy for myself. And the display of that was through allowing myself to feel sad, was through talking through my sadness, and was through having an emotional reaction like crying and not punishing or showing shame to myself for experiencing that emotion. So that brings me to my next point. You need to learn to pass through the storm in order to get out of it. Passing through the storm is actually very efficient. You're going through all the works. It's intense. It can be grueling. But once you're out, you're out. And then the storm is at your back. You don't have to return back there. It's in the past now. You can just keep going forward. The time you spend actually experiencing the emotion is going to be less than if you were avoiding it. It's going to be less than if you're pushing it down. If you're waiting for the storm to pass, I'm like, I'm gonna wait for it to pass. I'm not gonna address this big elephant in the room. It's still destroying things. It's still wreaking havoc. We are gonna talk about the steps that you actually need to do in order to become an emotionally strong woman and master emotions. These are going to be a little bit rehashing, but I'm going to be going into a little bit more depth. Number one, you need to brave the storm. Do not run and hide. By you allowing yourself to have that storm of emotion hit you, you will become emotionally resilient. The less emotionally triggered you will be when or if you face that storm. Again, listen to me well. For the love of God, do not willingly put or keep yourself in emotionally distressing situations in the name of becoming emotionally strong. You're looking for emotional strength in that way, but the only thing that you will get is trauma. Let's not. You only deal with what comes at you. Don't go looking for things. Number two, the second thing that you need to do in order to become an emotionally strong woman is to master verbal ventilation. I mentioned that earlier and we're going to do a deep dive. I was actually reading a book called Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving. So from my understanding and from what he said in the book, verbal ventilation is speaking or writing in a manner that airs out painful feelings. What do we call that in today's society? In layman's terms, we call that venting. That's what venting is. Unfortunately, venting has been misplaced and a lot of people just use it to incessantly talk about negative situations that are happening to them without any end goal of resolving them or without any end goal of really doing anything about it. However, If you do emotional ventilation properly, you will be able to talk about and through what you're feeling with somebody or in a journal or whatever in a way that helps you release the emotion and stops you from holding on to it. I would talk through a negative situation that was happening with me in my real life to God, and I would just be bawling my eyes out while I'm talking to it. That's emotional ventilation. I'm allowing my emotion to come out whilst I'm speaking and just talking through the situation in a way that describes how I'm affected. Even if I'm not quite aware of what it is I'm feeling, I can describe what I think I know. And so I'm talking about it and I'm describing those situations and I'm allowing my emotions to come out through my words or through my body or whatever I'm experiencing. And because of that, it allows it to pass quicker. The aim is not necessarily to get rid of the thing. The aim is more so to experience it, to deal with it, and to let it go. Vent to a friend. You can vent to a trusted individual. Vent in a journal. Vent in prayer. Number 3, remember, reframe. These emotions are not bad, they're human. These emotions are not bad, they're normal. Anger, self-protection. Sadness, self-compassion. Disappointment is normal. Unlearn what was taught to you about the expression of negative emotions. If you do it properly, healthily, civilly, it's not bad. Number 4, beware of victim mentality. Do you know what else comes with avoidance? You're also going to avoid accountability. You're going to avoid taking accountability for what your part is to play in a particular situation because that's uncomfortable. Why would I want to put blame on myself? Think that I'm the one that's in the wrong. You don't want to do that because you're emotionally avoidant, because it's uncomfortable to you. As a result, you put yourself in a victim mindset. Everybody else is the issue, you're not the issue. You can't ignore your own feelings and ignore the feelings of other people. You can't just understand your own feelings and then ignore the feelings of other people. You can't just understand other people's feelings and then ignore your own feelings. No. Understand yours, understand theirs. Patience, practice. Patience and practice. Get used to taking the time to deal with uncomfortable emotions in yourself and taking the time to see if you are at fault for anything and take accountability. The less you avoid, the more accountable and self-aware you become. And that's it. That is how you master your emotions. That is how you become an emotionally strong woman, okay? There are going to be times where you are sensitive. There are going to be times where you are reacting to certain things. Let it out. Obviously, don't cry and scream when you're in the street. Remember, context is important. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed and I hope you guys learned something. Let me know what kind of videos you want me to do. There might be some people that need help with something that I have actually experienced and gone through, but they've just either haven't seen a video made on it or they just don't know what to do about it. So let me know what you're going through and I'll see how I can help you if I'm able to. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. What are you doing? And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.